Grace and peace to you from God our Creator and our Lord and Savior, Jesus the Christ. Amen. I have a question. When you go out to eat, or when you go to someone's home that has amazing food, how many of you have those certain kinds of pants that you have to wear to make sure there's a little bit more room? You come up with those names for the pants, maybe buffet trousers or expando breeches or my eating pants. And then here comes the food, and you say in your head, I am certainly ready to eat. Because the choices of clothing that I make are perfect. I remember one time where my wife and I were out having fondue, and a gentleman across the room did not wear the right kind of clothes. It looked like his shirt was about to explode at any moment. And you know, with fondue, they have all those little pieces and so forth, and you're dipping it in, and it doesn't really feel like you're getting hungry because you're eating all of the little things and so forth. And lo and behold, this gentleman leans back and boom! Bing! Bing! And it hits this woman's hair, and she just kind of fluffs it off, and she was right next to us. Man, there's some flies in here. And here this man was going like this. I think I ate too much. So when I read our gospel for today, I can't help but to think about the crowd and the one thing that they had in mind. Fill my belly. And why not? Earlier in John chapter 6, this same crowd saw Jesus do something miraculous with 2 small fish and 5 barley loaves. He fed the crowd, they had their fill, and there were even leftovers. 12 baskets full. So they go out to find Jesus, implying that their motives are not centered on discovering who the Savior of the world is. Rather, they are centered on filling their bellies up with more food. And why not? Those clothes in the first century, well, they're very loose-fitting and very forgiving. Verse 25 of our gospel. When did you come here? And Jesus responds, very truly I tell you, you are looking for me not because you saw signs, but because you ate your fill of the loaves. So why do I bring this up? The crowd, as well as our 12 disciples, were missing out of the meaning of feeding of the 5,000 people. Instead of looking elsewhere for what this miracle was all about, all they saw was to satisfy their own selfish desires. Free food! Let's go and find some more. When in reality, the miracle pointed to something far greater than full bellies. The fish and bread were a sign. A sign that is something that points to something else. The sign isn't the important thing, but it is what it points to. For example, on our freeways and major thoroughfares, you see billboards that are placed here and there. And they are there not to attract us to the billboards, but rather so that we might be directed to what it points to, like a restaurant, an upcoming event, a hotel, on a big hunk of wood or a digital screen that we have nowadays. Rather than full bellies or the food, the people, the crowd should have been looking at God in the flesh and how God was working. Just like a few chapters later, all the people saw when Jesus was crucified on that rugged cross, all they saw was death. The story was over. They assumed that there was nothing else. The cross, though, was a billboard. It was a billboard pointing to the newness of life and the resurrection of a holy relationship with you and your Creator based in God's grace. So don't look here and there and everywhere. Look at the cross. Look at Jesus, the bread of life that gives life to the world. So how does this speak to us today? Verse 33 of our gospel. For the bread of God is that which comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. So think about this for a moment. In your life, after you leave Sunday morning worship, what signs are you looking at? What billboards are you being attracted to? Well, I'm not asking you to dismiss the highs and lows of your daily living, but do you see Jesus? Jesus the Christ that is interwoven within your life. It's not what you are looking for, it's who we are looking for. Are you centered on yourself? Where all you're seeking is, well, food? Or are you seeking the Lord our God who is beyond our crude matter, beyond our limits, who is greater than all of our impossibilities? For Jesus is pointing us to a new direction. He's not pointing to a tomb with a rock in front of it where death is waiting, where so many of us like to place ourselves and then just stay there in death and darkness. Jesus is asking us and is pointing us to a new life, an empty cross, new clothing. New clothing for us to wear that has been given to us at our baptism that assuredly says to us that we are wrapped in God's love and grace. So folks, what I'm saying to you is that Jesus is the bread of life. That Jesus is the one that you should be looking for always. So come to Him, never hunger or thirst. Just believe and live. It's that simple. Just believe and live. Say it with me. Just believe and live. It's a period at the end of that sentence. Let me change that. It's an exclamation point, maybe several exclamation points. Just believe and live. It's that simple. That's all you need for your life, for you to get through the bumps and grinds of everything that you go through. Just believe, and God will give you life. Amen.
Amen.